Indian Atheist. And there he is. Hopefully he'll be with us in a second. I'm sorry to those that have wanted to get on this show. There's quite a few people I've not been able to get in. But please feel free to try again on a future show, if indeed there is one, if we survive the 21st of May. Are you with us, Indian Atheist?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear. Welcome to the show.
Okay. I'm from India, and thank you for having me on the show. My question is about spirituality, and I'm a big fan of Sam Harris, and I want to know how you guys make a distinction between spirituality and religion.
Anyone want to jump in on this one, the differentiation between spirituality and religion?
I could view spirituality, well, I think it depends on how you define it. I mean, I personally would define it as not belonging to any religious domination, but simply an appreciation of being at one with the universe, an appreciation of the universe and all that is. And I mean, that's what, I guess Einstein referred to as God. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But that's what Einstein was referring to when he referenced God. And I could certainly see that as being different than believing in a deity, or going one step further and believing in all of the dogma that accompanies, the baggage that accompanies believing in one specific deity. So I think that there are certain levels to being religious, and then kind of the very loosest one is spirituality, which in my opinion I would define again as just an appreciation for being at one with the universe.
Well, I would think that spirituality would be a belief that there is a supernatural component to living beings, but that there would be little more than that, whereas a religion definitely carries with it the additional defining terms of having doctrine and dogma and holidays and these practices and traditions and laws and such that they have incorporated with them.
And you have to kill a few people along the way. That's an essential part of every religion too. But go ahead.
It's true though. Spirituality, you can be. I think you can have a natural spirituality instead of a supernatural spirituality, and spirituality is something you can subject to scrutiny, and it's not something that people typically are willing to die over, and I think that's one of.
I think Don is right. I think it depends to a large degree on how you define the word. I mean, I can go out on a clear night and look at the stars and get what could be described, depending on how you define it, as a spiritual experience. Yes, well, that as well. So I think it does depend on how you're defining your words. Let's go back to Indian Atheist and for his response to that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Indian Atheist,
yeah,
by the way,
yeah.
I think that the proper term is Native American Atheist, just so you know. It's kind of offensive.
No, I'm actually Indian.
Wait, woo-woo, or...
I'm teasing you, go ahead.
They're joking with you, Indian Atheist. I'm sorry, it's an American joke. We're making fun of ourselves. Maybe difficult to understand if we really are. Here in the United States, I don't even want to explain it, but I will. Here in the United States, we refer to the Native Americans as Indians, and what Donnie is making fun of and Concordance is making fun of is the way we were raised to believe that word applied to the natives of this country. And most of us, some of our backgrounds seemed completely oblivious that there was an India. So we're actually making fun of ourselves here, not you. Please go ahead.
No, it's no surprise though. You look at the map of the world if you're an American student and you see America in the middle, and on the outside you see here be dragons. Sorry, Indian Atheist, back to you.
Thank you for clarifying that and getting back to the question. My definition of spirituality is, when you experience a certain type of bliss, like Carl Sagan described it, in his TV series Cosmos. So how do you relate to that and communicate that to the religious audience?
Well, wait, a state of bliss, if you describe that as spirituality, you can get that for $20 a bag. I think that it needs to be, you need to specify where the bliss is coming from. Is it from... I mean, is it from good deeds? Is it from just a feeling at one with the universe? Exactly what does it? Where is it coming from? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Here's an example, if I could.
Like you said, being one with the universe.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Feel connected to the universe.
I'm sorry, one at a time. And please, when you're not speaking, can you mute your microphones? It probably will increase audio quality. Indian, and then back to Aaron.
Yeah, I'm talking being one with the universe. So, I'm not talking about getting high on drugs or something. I'm talking about, connecting with the universe, understanding the universe more clearly, in your regular state of mind.
Aaron, I think you wanted to make a comment. Unmute your mic first.
I didn't understand that. I'm still looking for a definition that specifies what spirituality is. I mean, because we could be talking about soul, in which case, if I have a deep appreciation of blues music, does that count?
Well, I think the definition that was being given was a feeling of being at one with the universe.
Is that necessarily? Well, okay, I guess in a pantheistic sense, it could be, and I certainly feel that. But I don't have a belief in a spiritual. I don't have a spirituality in the sense that I don't believe in a supernatural aspect of the universe anymore. I do have soul, but I don't have a soul. If that makes any sense.
South Korea has more soul,
and so does fillet of fish.
See, I find all this very interesting from a point of view of an emergent property of people's behaviors or thoughts or whatever, the biological, the physiological you, and then what sort of comes out of that is your personality or your identity. And I don't see how that's not spirituality. You're talking about like universal spirit or cosmic spirit or spirituality. By that, I simply mean that things are more complex than the parts that they're made up of. And our recognition of how interesting the world is connects us to the systems around us. And if that's what you mean by being one with the universe, I think it's sort of recognizing that, the Earth is one sort of giant living organism in its own way, and we're each parts in that, and we all interact with each other. And that's a really neat thing. And that for a lot of atheists is spiritually fulfilling, to recognize what we know about the universe, what role we play in the universe, how we interact with each other, and the effects of our actions for, hundreds or thousands of years to come.
Yeah. Now, as a spiritual atheist, I would have to lend that. When I watch Carl Sagan's Cosmos, just listening to Sagan go on about his philosophy and how I share that, it touched me to a degree to listen to his descriptions and the way that he felt about logic and about the universe and about science in general. I shared his philosophy. Okay, is that the kind of spiritual? It touched me. I felt a connection in what he's expressing my thoughts so eloquently, better even than I can. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about that. And how do you communicate that to the religious people? Most of the religious people, talk about bliss and everything. But how do you
Most of them feel that. They may have a different name for it, but most religious people are aware of that feeling. And they may attribute a different meaning to it.
Yeah,
I think it's a human universal.
I totally agree with that. But it does not mean that you have to have certain precursor to the religious beliefs, to that bliss. You don't need to believe in the Bible to get that sort of bliss. So how do you communicate to that, this scientific bliss I'm talking about, that Carl Sagan so beautifully wrote in his book and talked about in the TV series. How do you communicate to that to the religious people?
I'm not sure that there's an easy answer to that. How I can stand on a beach, hearing the waves, smelling the sea, looking up at the sky. I get a huge, feeling of wonder and awe. And no, stop it, Donny. You're supposed to be muting your microphone when you're not speaking. But how do you communicate that to people? I'm not sure there's an easy answer to it. And as Concordance probably says, they probably already appreciate that. They just attribute it to a different cause, I suspect.
I know. I agree. There are things you can do, like volunteering. You can actually get like a helper's high and helping my fellow mankind. It's all about what your purpose in life is to me. And when you're doing your purpose, you get that high. You get that feeling. I get a raging clue. Like when I'm helping other people, when I'm learning about the universe, and when I'm just out having fun with friends and stuff. I mean, that to me is what it's all about. And if that's spiritualistic, I guess it's so subjective. I mean, so many people get high off of different things. I mean, there are people who like get runner's high. I hate to run, so I don't give a shit. But to them, that could be as close as they get to, just ecstasy in the universe. So
here's a good example. There's a video that shows the comparison of the Earth to Jupiter, and then Jupiter to the Sun, and then it compares our Sun to other suns that are bigger than our Sun. And so this video goes on to show all these increasingly gargantuan suns until you're looking at Betelgeuse and other suns much bigger than that, stupefyingly huge, and it continues to show our Sun in comparison to the point that our Sun is indistinguishable. It is less than a pixel to compare to this other, gargantuan star. And we, as science-minded people, will look at these images and realize how insignificant we are and how impressive that is. And there's a certain degree of awe in our appreciation of nature and of science and in the universe. And we're looking at this and we are awestruck by this. From the religious perspective, they took that exact same video and just added a few seconds at the end. Isn't God great? Was added to the end. As if whatever impresses you must somehow be attributed to your imaginary friend.
And I think our friend VenonFiX was actually responsible for posting that video. Indian, I'm going to have to remove you now because I've noticed the time. We're well over when we should normally finish. But thank you very much indeed for the call.
Thank you for having me, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I want to finish very quickly with a number of points. Firstly, I'm being messaged by a number of people, and I think that most of the people who regular viewers of the show will appreciate that the sound quality today is much, much better. We owe that to Tony Slutface, who has managed to sort it out. It's taken us about a year to get video and audio quality to a reasonable standard, and even then we don't see thunder and concordance. But I hope that it's been better for you. As usual, the show will be put on the YouTube channel. Congratulations to Don Exodus on qualifying. You can now call him Dr. Don Exodus. Congratulations on that. And any final words from anyone?
I'm awesome.
Yes, he is.
And he's not gay. Don is not gay. Honestly, he's not.
Definitely, absolutely, 100% not gay. Just like, there's a great motivational poster for one of these Republican guys, Christian, happily married, 2 children, definitely not gay.
Okay, well, unless anyone else wants to say anything, can I just say thank you very much for everyone that's turned up. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back, if the rapture permits, in 2 weeks' time. And the following week, the 5th of June, we will have a special show live from